All praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rakah Kodesh, the blindness to the elders and apostles of Great and Stone, Shalom to the elect pushing this word in truth and in sincerity. We do perceiving mercy of Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai. Yahweh is the name of the Heavenly Father. Yahushai is the name of His only begotten Son. The so-called Negroes, Hispanics, and Native Americans are the Israelites, according to the prophecies that are written in the scriptures. I want to make it known that the RFID microchip is the charagma written about in Revelation 13, verse 16 on down, which is the MOTB. The miracle drug is the precursor to the MOTB. And the MOTB is going to be the new identity. It's going to be your new identity in this new world order, in which if you don't have this, you're not going to be part of society. You're going to be left out. You're not going to be able to buy nor sell, as it is written. And what you're seeing taking place around the world is the system being set up. And these things are gradually done. Nothing is done by coincidence. Yo. You see all these banks being reported of collapsing. This is not by coincidence. This is by design. Because they're leading you to a particular aim. That's why the scripture says, lest Satan should get an advantage of us, for we are not ignorant of his devices. When I look up that word device, look up the plan. Trick. So this is Esau's cunning work right now, in which majority of the masses are clueless. That's why you have bank runs taking place now. Because people don't understand, say even when they run to these banks and draw them money, isn't it? The bank don't even have the money to give them overall. So it's just going to help speed up this crash where Esau wants you, because Esau wants to done away with the cash, because they cannot track and monitor the cash that you spend. They want to transition you to a digital economy. At first, it's going to be an app on your phone, but it's going to come down to a chip being inserted in your right hand, or should I just say in your hand or in your forehead. So let's go straight to Revelation, where this prophecy lies. So this is Revelation 13, verse 15. And he had power to give life unto the image of the beast. And the image of the beast talking about the system. What they them have Swift. Let me just go to it. Just showing you that this is just the image being set up. Alright, so this is just going straight to the point. It's a swift move to next phase of CBDC testing after positive result, according to recent survey by the OMFIF, which is the official monetary financial institution forum, digital monetary institution that was cited by SWIFT. 24% of central banks will introduce a CBDC within the next couple of years. So you worried about these smaller banks being closed down? This is by design, because these central banks are going to do what? Issued CBDC, And this is money, digital money that can be tracked and monitored and regulated on levels that you cannot even comprehend. I just want to show you where this is heading. So back in Revelation 13, verse 15, it says, "And he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak, and cause that as many as will not worship the image should be killed." And that's how serious it is. Right now, part of the speaking is the implementation of the beast. While they want to see a precursor with the whole shutdown of society, they couldn't get access to certain public facilities, you see me, and government facilities if you don't wear a particular thing, if you don't do certain requirements that they ask you. You can travel to certain countries without you have a particular thing. That's just the precursor of the MOTB. Verse 16. He causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their forehead, and that no man might buy or sell, save he that hath the mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name. So you have a lot of people who's gonna crumble in the times to come due to the fact that them love this world. Them can't do without the technologies that Esau have given unto them, which is just to poison the minds of the simple. Because the simple believe it every word. Just as in the times to come when Esau saw demonize the servants of Yahweh Shem Yahweh and forewarn of these things. Because our people don't like to hear the truth. We're out there week in, week out, declaring these things in the ears of these so-called niggers, Hispanics, and Native Americans. As is written in Isaiah 30, verse 8, it said, "Now go, write it before them in a table, and note it in a book, that it may be for the time to come forever and ever." That's why we have this record, yo, to show you how Israel stay. When the prophets them get sent to Israel, yo, they are very rebellious. Because we are warning you of the system that is coming online, yo, which is the RFID microchip system, yo. Verse 9, that this is a rebellious people, lying children, children that will not hear the law of Yahweh, which say to the seers, see not. And what we are doing, yo, we are seeing what's coming, yo. We are being prudent because we are the prophets, yo. Whether you believe us or no, we are the prophets. We're seeing what's coming, yo. And we are declaring the evils to come. And he says, see not unto the prophets, prophesy not unto us right things, speak unto us smooth things, prophesy the sea. And we are telling the chaos that is going to unfold upon the earth. And all these things are done by design to bring order out of chaos. Because a lot of people are going to cry for this system, yo. These are going to make society so chaotic in which people are going to cry for order. And this is going to be the order being implemented. Get you out of the way, turn aside out of the path, cast the Holy One of Israel to cease from before us. Wherefore, thus saith the Holy One of Israel, because he despised this word, and trust in oppression, and stay there, and trust in oppression and perverseness, and stay thereon, Therefore, this iniquity shall be to you as a breach ready to fall, swelling out in a high wall, whose breaking coming suddenly at an instant. Just as it tells us, the four storehouses shall be suddenly be found empty. This is how this chaos is gonna come upon you, so-called Negroes, Hispanics, and Native Americans, unaware. So I'm gonna show you what's going on over there in America. And this is not going to just be in America. This is going to be something taking place worldwide. You're going to have a lot of bank runs. You're going to have a lot of problems with these ATMs. Because Esau is very cunning when he push forward his agenda.
Let's talk about this bank panic and the destruction of the U.S. dollar. I'm going to say something that probably defies some conventional wisdom right now, and I'm sure that there will be detractors out there, but I don't care, actually, because if I'm right, then a lot of people might actually be able to protect themselves and protect their families. And if I'm wrong, well, guess what? No one gets hurt. In fact, you'll actually be a little bit safer and a little bit of a safer position when it officially happens and they announce this. So we'll get to that in a second. It's a little tease for you. Yesterday, a third U.S. bank failed in the space of a week. So this bank is called Signature Bank, which, by the way, is the same bank that shut down President Trump's bank accounts after January 6th. Isn't that kind of ironic in a way? Anyway, just had to throw that in there. They shut down his bank accounts because he was too risky after January 6th. They didn't like the risk associated with him, Trump, and January 6th, Signature Bank. And now they've collapsed. As David Schaefer says on Twitter, Signature Bank famously closed President Trump's bank accounts to signal its virtue. Go woke, go broke, he says, to signal its virtue. This morning, President Biden came out and gave a rare address to the nation. Of course, he's not taking any questions. He doesn't do that. And he did this ahead of the market open to assuage any kind of fears about a run on the banks. Watch.
Today, thanks to the quick action of my administration over the past few days, Americans can have confidence that the banking system is safe. Your deposits will be there when you need them. Small businesses across the country, the deposit accounts at these banks can breathe easier knowing they'll be able to pay their workers and pay their bills. And their hardworking employees can breathe easier as well. Last week, when we learned of the problems of the banks, and the impact they could have on jobs of small businesses, banking system overall, I instructed my team to act quickly to protect these interests.
These men are the devil the Bible speaks of. You know what I'm saying? Last week, when we learned of the problems, they already know that the system that they have set up is a debt-based economy. They already know. But they might play they might play upon the minds of the simple, the ignorant, because they have their agenda to push forward.
So last week you knew about this, okay? Just to be clear about that, just rewind the clock. It's not Friday that you knew about this. You knew about this in the middle of the week. You knew about this earlier than we were told. But last week I told my team. So we know, okay, that's how this is playing out. So the message here, though, is very clear. Don't worry about your money, America, because the Fed will step in and create more liquidity so you can withdraw your money. Watch.
Because of the actions that our regulators have already taken, every American should feel confident that their deposits will be there if and when they need them. Second, the management of these banks will be fired. If the bank is taken over by FDIC, the people running the bank should not work there anymore. Third, investors in the banks will not be protected. They knowingly took a risk, and when the risk didn't pay off, investors lose their money. That's how capitalism works.
Oh, is that how capitalism works? He's giving us a lesson in capitalism.
Oh, okay.
You know, so here's how capitalism works. We pick winners and losers, and we, the federal government, pick winners and losers, and then we print more money to bail out certain people.
Yeah.
That's how capitalism works. So we're clear on that.
Okay, cool.
I think I got the wrong ism. Yeah. Socialism or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Philip.
I just want to quickly jump in with something that just really infuriates me, and I hate it. But why it's like the new political rhetoric, not even new, but like decades old, of where anything that happens, they have to point out that it was their administration that did it. He starts out with that, like, me and my administration. I was like, who? Okay, fine. Sorry. It was.
No, it drives me nuts because it's right out of the gate. He wants to take credit for it, right? He's like, I instructed, it was my administration moved very quickly. We moved very quickly. Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Really?
but the bank failures have been on when he was vice president,
Right.
on Democrats' watch. Although, of course, it's monetary policy continues to expand no matter who's in office.
Yeah, it doesn't
And
matter.
so does government. So yes, those taking credit for the timeline is stupid because they all do the same thing.
So he blamed Trump in this too, which you were kind of alluding to, this idea of they're all to blame. So he blamed Trump. That's one of the other things he mentioned in this speech. Number 5 on his list was the past administration deregulated things and whatever. Anyway, that's to distract you from the real story. They want us to blame Trump. It's his fault for deregulating the banking industry. That's what the Biden administration wants. That's what left-wing media is saying. All you need to do is turn on MSNBC or CNN. That's what they're saying this morning. And Republicans want us to blame Biden. Biden inflation, as they're calling it, right? It's his inflation which caused these treasuries to lose value. All of these banks were loaded up on these treasuries, and they lost all kinds of value because of inflation, and that's why there was this big problem, right? So they want to play this back and forth. It's a distraction. I'm saying it's a distraction. It's my theory on this. It's in the same way that the Chinese distraction about the Wuhan lab leak theory, because it's all a distraction from the real story. Everything that we're seeing over the past 24 hours, I believe, is a trial run for a central bank digital currency. This is what I believe. Based on the facts from the FDIC and investors that I trust, this was always going to happen. Just remember some context here. In the fall, right here on this show, we talked about the FDIC held a private meeting. Then that meeting was leaked. During that meeting, the FDIC jokes that the banks are a joke, right? They're not solvent, basically, and that they are a well-known house of cards. They also said that they wanted people to use as little cash as possible. How can we limit the amount of cash that people are using? That's the goal. And when the problem hits, they would release this information on a Friday night so as not to have further panic, right? They want this to hit. They're going to release it on a Friday night. Isn't it kind of crazy that all 3 of those things just happened on a Friday night? Watch, this is the FDIC.
How would we use targeted guarantees to allay concerns about excess cash use? There's a lot of questions here. There are a lot of things we've been thinking about, and what we want to hear from you today is what you think the priorities would be in order to go about setting expectations appropriately in public about how we would execute Title II, so that if and when we do have to have that announcement on Friday night, ideally Friday night, that people are in a position to receive it, understand it, and say, yeah, that works. And we can see how this will happen. Of course, there will be doubters, but there's a lot of things going on.
So
that's the plan, guys.
here it is, right? I mean, she literally says it, and it all happened, right? And again, this is why we cover this stuff. Months ago, you guys could have started preparing yourselves, moving money into gold and silver, making whatever you want to play into Bitcoin, whatever, real estate, etc. Getting your money out of this system that they control, and also getting as much cash on hand as possible, as Catherine Austin Fitts likes to talk.
So let's go back into the scriptures here, because people believe that putting their money into gold and silver, in which is being prudent, not saying, but that can't deliver you from what's to come. The scripture is very clear that you won't be able to buy nor sell if you don't have the mark. That's why it is written in Isaiah that the Lord's servants shall eat, but he shall be hungry. The Lord's servants shall drink, but he shall be thirsty. And one of the reasons that you didn't put on the whole armor of God, you believe the lie that was told by the elites. This is Ephesians 6, verse 10. It says, finally, my brethren, be strong in the Lord and in the power of his might. Put on the whole armor of God, that ye may be able to stand against the wiles of the devil. And what are the wiles of the devil? The trickery of the devil, yeah, the manipulations of the devil, the deceptions of the devil. For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against spiritual wickedness in high places, against the rulers of the darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness. I'm reading what this like here. For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places. Wherefore take unto you the whole armor of God, that ye may be able to withstand in the evil day, and having done all to stand. And what is that evil day talking about, yo? The time of Jacob's trouble. Yeah. Mainly the great time of temptation, yo. The time that you are going to be required to receive the RFID market chip, which is the MOTB, whether you want to believe it, yes or no. Stand, therefore, having your loins girt about with truth, and having on the breastplate of righteousness, and your feet shod with the preparation of the gospel of peace. Above all, taking the shield of faith, wherewith ye shall be able to quench all the fiery darts of the wicked. And this is one of the fiery darts, yo. And take the helmet of salvation, and the sword of the Spirit, which is the word of God, praying always with all prayer and supplication in the Spirit, and watching thereunto with all perseverance and supplication for all saints. So this is supposed to be our mentality going into these times, yo. Watching what Esau is doing, so we're not ignorant of his devices, yo. And as the first thing that I brought out, yo, this is what it's leading up to. This is all gradually being done because they're pushing for this CBDC system. So this is the final that I want to say, Kalalal, Yahweh, Ba'ashim Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashim Yahweh Shalom.